Evening, Matt. Evening, everyone. Terrific atmosphere inside this homely little ground. Not just Brighton that are looking for a new stadium. Brentford possibly moving here to nearby Hounslow, which would at least take them away from the Premiership attractions of Fulham and Chelsea. Promotion would help, David. Which one of these two teams is most likely to go up at the end of the season, do you think?
Well, certainly there's no reason why one of these won't make it up. Reading very much setting the pace at the moment, but they're all tightly bunched behind, and everyone in that chasing pack, I think, all have an opportunity, even down to Brentford, who are in 7th place. OK, let's have a look at the two teams, starting with the home side. After a series of blunders, Steve Coppell has finally dropped his Icelandic goalkeeper, Alefa Gukslausson. In his second league start of his career is Paul Smith tonight. That's just one of 4 changes from the defeat at Northampton on Tuesday. Among those returning, skipper Kevin Evans, number 7, and Lloyd Owusu has shaken off a shoulder injury. He partners 30 Ben Burgess. Brentford will start as a 4-4-2, though it's likely they will change once the game starts to combat the visitors' shape. Though he'll start at right back, I expect to see Michael Dobson push more into a midfield position. That will allow the promising Stephen Sidwell to push more inside and make a middle 5. Shortage of goals from the middle from the front 2 in recent weeks means they soon have to get back on the goal scoring sheet. Well, Brighton include 3 former Brentford players in their lineup. Mickey Adams, of course, having managed both these clubs before joining Leicester in October. There is, though, one name that stands out on this team sheet, indeed, at the moment in the whole of the second division. It's Bobby Zamora. A hat-trick on Saturday, 2 on Monday. What will Thursday bring for the Londoner, who celebrated his 21st birthday last week? It's likely to be a 4-5-1 for Brighton. Bobby Zamora very much the focal point of Brighton's game plan. He'll figure as a lone man up front, with that packed midfield asked to get up and support him, particularly the wider 2, Nathan Jones and Gary Hart, expected to take some of the onus off Zamora to score the goals. In the back, Adam Virgo comes in to complete it, what is a steady back 4, even without the experienced Simon Morgan. 22 players in that very congested tunnel at the moment. There'll soon be 26 rugby league players there. The London Broncos on the move again. But tonight it's football and it's second division action at the top. Two sides who spent much of the season vying for top spot, but Brentford's slide has been rapid and dramatic. Will it change this evening against Brighton?
So Brentford 2 wins in 12, Brighton only 1 loss in 14, but this is very much up for grabs. It's the Bees versus the Albion, live next. This is Griffin Park, and this is your Thursday night game here on the ITV Sport channel. It's Brentford against Brighton and Hove Albion, and your commentators are David Fairclough and Guy Havel.
Now, Cardiff failed with an offer of £1.2 million a year ago. Wigan then upped it to 1.5 in February and were told no. Recently, a Premiership club reportedly doubled that figure and were also rebuffed. Can Bobby Zamora, who's not yet played in the top 2 divisions, be worth more than £3 million? Tonight you have the opportunity to sit back and make up your own minds. Peter Taylor certainly believes he is, so does his chairman Dick Knight. They've rebuffed the offers so far. They have a man who's led them into the second division and might just lead them out of it. The referee is down from Birmingham, Trevor Parks. The now familiar huddle, even in the second division. Brentford need some team spirit tonight. They need to pull themselves out of this huge hole. 1 goal since Christmas, no points at all since Christmas. Brentford to get us underway. They're in the red and white stripes as opposed to the blue and white stripes. No need for a change of kit for Brighton. No need to ask the Brentford players and supporters if they had a good Christmas and New Year. The answer is categorically no. Leaders of the second division when they went Christmas shopping. Now they're paying off the credit card bills and they still haven't seen their side collect a single point. And they slid now outside even of the playoff places. Brighton, in contrast, have had a terrific week so far. Zamora trying to flick it on. It's Owusu putting pressure under Cullip. Lloyd Owusu, who missed out in midweek. 3 games in 6 days for these two sides. And Steve Coppell opting to ring 1 or 2 changes at Northampton. He doesn't have the advantage of players being pulled along by a run of success. Marn with a chance to float the ball in. Here is Zamora. A little flick from behind by Ingemarson, who will be having to keep a keen eye on him. The Brentford defence has been relatively good in recent weeks. It's the boys in front of goal that have let them down a little bit, despite the fact that they have 3 players on the pitch who've already hit double figures, in contrast to Brighton, who've only got 1. Nice 1-2 there between Marn and the referee. This is Anderson. Kind of floated up towards Burgess. Watson was in to head it away. So important that Brentford make a good start. Hunt is held up by Virgo. The tackle was clean. It's a corner.
What's a frantic start, certainly. Brentford pushing Brighton back on the back foot. Brighton, though, I think are resigned to that fact. At this moment in time, I think just trying to get bodies in the way and make it difficult for Brentford to make any headway.
There you see Michael Dobson in the penalty area, hoping for a decent cross, and it is. It's punched away well by Simon Royce. This is his final game on a month's loan from Leicester. They're hoping to extend it for another month. Dobson with the throw-in. Most of the players have stayed forward for Brentford. And it's just wide of the post by Hunt. Well, arguably the smallest player in that penalty area, and he was left unmarked.
Well, certainly it's a useful throw by Dobson. Good flick on. And Hunt just coming in, might have perhaps got it on target. Perhaps taken slightly by surprise.
Steve Coppell was talking beforehand about the lack of money that he's had since he came here during the summer. Stephen Hunt was a signing from his old club, Crystal Palace, but it was a free transfer. Owusu. Burgess on loan from Blackburn goes through the centre. And it is in towards Burgess. In the end, it turned into be something of a surprise pass by Owusu after turning it down initially. Good start this by Brentford. Evans going for goal, and he has impressed many this season. A dozen from midfield.
Certainly Brentford are keeping up a good pace, very busy in the midfield, lots of bodies in that midfield. Not a great deal of time for anybody on the ball this moment in time.
Hart goes over to shield the ball from Ingemarson. Zamora in the centre, and it's the first touch for Paul Smith. Second league start of his career. The previous one was against Swansea. It finished 6-0 to Swansea. Owusu looking to go for goal. A very, very positive start for Brentford. Steve Coppell was talking about it beforehand, and that was drummed into them, obviously, in the changing room. They've really come out all guns firing here, David.
Well, great control, certainly by Lloyd Owusu. Good kick by Smith right down the centre of the field. But really, Brighton need to be pushing up. You can't afford to give him as much time as that on that one. He found that space just in between the midfield and the defence.
Maybe the changes he made in midweek are helping Brentford early on. Fresh legs out there on the pitch. Brighton, by contrast, keeping relatively the same side for the match on Saturday and on Monday at Chesterfield. Sidwell looking for an option. Burgess goes through the centre. Sidwell had tried to spread play a little bit, but was unsuccessful. Dobson forward. Owusu showing. Thought he won the throw-in. Went to sleep a little bit there, Lloyd Owusu. One of 3 Brentford players currently on 12 goals this season. Powell wins the header against Bobby Zamora. Quickly taken by Nathan Jones. Hart was in the centre, but it's good defending by Anderson. And he shows his pace there and tries to set Brentford going. Watson. Anderson clears. Carpenter. Poor pass by Nathan Jones, who was impressive in midweek in their victory at Chesterfield. Inevitably, it was Zamora who scored both the goals. First, a very controversial one where he kicked the ball out of the grasp of the goalkeeper when he was on the floor. Just had one hand on the ball, but it was given. It was a key moment of the game early in the second half. And he scored an absolutely fantastic second goal. And Brighton were heading into second spot. Evans with another effort on goal, this time some way off distance.
We've got a quick look at goal. Paul Evans, the opportunity was there. Leant back though as the ball just fell to him, come off the outside of his foot. That all built up though from Nathan Jones. Nice build up by Brighton in the middle of the field, and then the ball from Jones put Brighton back under pressure. He gifted it to Brentford. It's important that Brighton do sort of try and take a little bit of steam out of Brentford's effort at this moment and do hang on to the ball a little bit longer.
Tackle was by Anderson. It finds Hunt in a bit of space. That's the way he likes it. Oatway trying to stop his progress. Here's Charlie Oatway, a former Brentford player. Mickey Adams' spell here saw promotion and relegation, and then he did such a fantastic job for Brighton before moving to Leicester. And going the opposite way, of course, was Peter Taylor. Not dissimilar to the Trevor Francis, Steve Bruce situation with Crystal Palace and Birmingham. Mickey Adams believing that English coaches not getting their opportunity at the highest level, and he would have to go as a number 2 to maybe get his dream of coaching in the Premiership. Hart's in the centre, so too is Zamora. Hunt's clearance doesn't go too far. Zamora's trying to win it using his strength and height, but it's unsuccessful. Evans wins the header. He's really been up for this in the opening few minutes. Feels he has a point to prove. He was desperately disappointed to be left only on the bench on Tuesday at Northampton. Also reports that he's not going to be offered a new contract at the end of the season. One notes talking about having to reduce the overheads that he has here at Brentford and make the club stand on its own 2 feet without his backing. It's a little push there. That'll be a free kick to Brighton. Haven't really been able to test the new goalkeeper in the Brentford goal, who's just organising his wall at the moment.
Well, this is certainly an area where Carpenter fancies his chances normally.
It was Watson who went for an early effort. He had 18 months here at Griffin Park.
Really trying to catch the goalkeeper unawares, but perhaps wasted a good opportunity. I think it would have been better for Brighton to have taken the time on that one.
Jones wins the header, played forward. Zamora's not seen too much of it so far. He goes against Ingemarson, who wins a good header. Owusu chasing towards goal and winning the throw-in for Brentford. A terrific record here at Griffin Park this season. They were beaten last Saturday, but that was their first reverse here all season. Owusu in the centre. It's towards Burgess though, and it came off the head of a Brighton player. Nearly again fell for Hunt, who was arriving blind to Brentford Brighton defenders. Dobson with the header away. This is Sidwell. Rodgers is back for Brighton. Thump clear. Zamora. Off he goes. The ball played up towards him. Great deal of time on the ball for either side at the moment. Mayo. Nathan Jones.
Promising move by Nathan Jones, coming in from the left-hand side. Just snatched at the shot a little bit. Fair enough to have a go, but never really got much power on it, and certainly didn't have the goal on his target.
Nathan Jones, who was signed from Southend 18 months ago, had a brief spell in Spain with Numancia. Booming kick by Simon Royce. Hart can't get on the end of it. Oatway dallied on the ball too long. Away comes Stephen Hunt. Owusu's in the centre screaming for it. And Cullet got connection on it, and then the linesman flagged on the far side for an offside, probably against Owusu.
That was a bright run by Hunt. Certainly seeing that bit of space beyond Paul Watson, pushed the ball into it and went after it. Good pace, certainly a dangerous looking left-sided player.
Owusu passed the late fitness check on a damaged shoulder. It was a dislocated shoulder last year that disrupted most of his season. Brentford finishing in mid-table on that occasion. Sidwell on loan from Arsenal. Zamora looking up, seeing Hart in the centre. Just a penalty box player, Bobby Zamora. Wants to drift out wide and take up good positions. Team player. Saw him back for the corner in the opening few minutes.
Certainly they're the type of positions Brighton will hope to find Zamora. The attentions of Powell and Ingemarson have been very tight up to now. It is important that they do try and get him on the ball as often as they can.
Carpenter just on the edge of the penalty area. Nathan Jones is also unmarked at the moment. Evans with a weak clearance to Carpenter. Zamora first time. Ingemarson has time to clear it, but he made a hash of that. Zamora will be keen to score again here tonight. He's closing in on a Brighton club record for goals in a season held by Peter Ward back in the mid-70s, and David was starring for Liverpool. Peter Ward scored 36 in League and Cup and 32 in the league that season. At the moment, Zamora has 24 in League and Cup and 20 in the league. Here's Hunt for Brentford, and an opportunity maybe to go for goal. That's got to be a penalty, surely. No. The referee indicates it's diving from Stephen Hunt. In that case, he should have been booked.
Well, it's an encouraging run by Hunt, and certainly it's a penalty. Carpenter lucky to get away with that one. Perhaps the position of the referee didn't give him the best of views. A great run by Hunt, and really he looked to have just done enough to have broken through that challenge. Desperate lunge by Carpenter.
Well, the referee was quite clear that he didn't think it was a penalty, but the replay would suggest that Brentford's poor luck in recent times has continued into the 15th minute of this game. Opportunity maybe for Watson. Now here's Owusu. Hunt's gone ahead of the play, trying to use his pace.
He's very impressive, certainly in these early minutes. Hunt, just when they were clearing the ball from the edge of the box, Evans decided to just punt the ball up. Rather, had he just glanced over to his left, he would have seen Hunt all alone. A simple ball just rolled out to him. Could have been quite useful.
Here's Nathan Blake. Nathan Jones having swap flanks. Carpenter. Good take by the goalkeeper. Paul Smith will be relieved with that. Signed from Carl Shorten 19 months ago, but only made a handful of first-team appearances so far for Brentford. And this season his only previous match was in the LDV Vans Trophy in the defeat at Wycombe Wanderers. Ball first touch by Mann. Sidwell also finding the ball bouncing away from him. Very hard chasing, and Ingemarson does well. Well, Russell Osman picked him out beforehand as a player that might be able to play at a better level. And he's started off impressively so far. Owusu feels that he was impeded there on his run towards the ball, and the linesman and referee agree.
Good play by both sides. Certainly right ball by Brighton up front. Looked to have got past Ingemarson, but he did awfully well to make the challenge. And then his ball forward looked to have stepped Brighton up.
Quickly in, but to no one in particular, over the head of Burgess. This is Powell. Brighton had everybody behind the ball there.
Just happy to clear the lines for the moment. Brighton started perhaps the better. Certainly pushed Brighton back an awful lot, Brentford.
Trying to get the ball out to Hunt as much as possible. He's been the major danger so far. This is Burgess. Little layoff from Owusu, but Burgess running into trouble. Owusu's got the ball back. There, a Brighton player.
Well, we knew what he intended to do. Tried to curl it into the left side of the goalkeeper, but really pulled it drastically. Never ever threatening at all. And it wasn't a bad position to make something out of for Lloyd Owusu.
Got a good goal-scoring record for Brentford. 175 matches, 63 goals since he was signed from Slough back in 1998. Ingemarson with the header. Hunt again gets the ball. Supporting from Anderson. Hunt's unmarked behind him. Burgess goes up for the header. And Watson clears. There's a man down injured. It's a head injury as well, and the referee quite rightly immediately blows his whistle.
I think it's Virgo that went up with the challenge with Burgess. Wasn't the best of balls in by Anderson. I think his better option might have just been to roll the ball back to Hunt, and he would have been in a better position to deliver a more purposeful cross. As it was sort of just lobbed in there. And Burgess going over the top of Virgo just caught him.
Well, Brentford have had a good 20 or so minutes so far, but should they have had a penalty? The referee thought not. Make up your own mind. This is his position. Carpenter with the tackle. And you could argue from that position it looks as if he's played the ball.
It did actually from that position, but we had the benefit of seeing it from this side of the field, and clearly Hunt evaded Carpenter. Very lucky Brighton.
Well, Steve Coppell will feel that nothing is going right for his team at the moment. It's often the way, isn't it, when you're in one of those runs that you just don't get the breaks. They've conceded silly goals, and they had a goal disallowed in injury time against Northampton on Tuesday that might have given them their first point of 2002. Might have had a penalty there that really would have lifted their spirits against the team who are in the automatic promotion places at the moment. But as he was saying in his programme notes beforehand, the game of football is about twists and turns, not just the 90 minutes here tonight, but 46 league matches will determine who are the best teams and who deserve to go up.
Well, he's proving a handful in the early 20 minutes. Lloyd Owusu, a lot of pace, a lot of power, trying to get down the channels between the fullback and the centre-back pairings.
Ingemarson has gone forward along with his defensive partner Darren Powell. Drilled in towards the near post, and the ball has actually gone out of the ground. Brighton supporters behind that goal, terrific following again from them. Weren't as many up at Chesterfield, but obviously it's a lot further to travel, and they made tremendous noise there. They have been fantastic support in recent times that have been a lot leaner than they are at the moment. Well, the referee's unhappy with something. Unhappy with the Brighton defenders.
Virgo and Owusu having a little bit of a game there. Owusu trying to evade Virgo.
Ref keeping a careful eye here, and it's in. And it's Ingemarson who goes away to celebrate. And at long last, Brentford have a break, and they have a goal against Brighton.
Well, I think they deserve a break as well. Certainly it's been a bright start, a good delivery in. The first corner that came in that ultimately the referee has to be taken again was a good delivery as well. They're very dangerous from those balls from that right-hand side. Well driven, good header. Just inside the far post. Royce must have seen a little bit late, I think, hence his reaction.
Ivar Ingemarson, a defender, but he scored the winner against Brighton at the start of the season. It's too early to maybe suggest that he might have scored the winner here tonight. He'll hope so. Steve Cooper will hope so. But us neutrals will hope there are more goals in this game, and certainly it might just wake Brighton up. They've had a lethargic start. Away by Anderson. Cullip wellies it forward towards Zamora, who's unmarked and virtually catches the ball, doesn't he? Free kick.
Well, it was a difficult ball to control and take into his stride. High ball, and well, we all saw that he did handle it, no doubt about that. Now is the time, though, perhaps Brighton will have to just sort of try and push forward a little bit more, take a little bit of strain off their backs, and address the balance somewhat, and put Brentford under a little bit of pressure.
There's also a bit of a strain under Bobby Zamora. He is the only player who seems to score for Brighton. He's got half their league goals this season. And of the players starting tonight, the next highest scorer to him has just 3 goals. Compare that to Brentford, who have 3 players in double figures, and that was Ingemarson's 5th goal of the season. Peter Taylor did remark on it beforehand. They are very reliant on him. This is Burgess. Oh, he was going for a memorable goal, but he didn't even really make contact with the ball.
No, it was a wild slash at the ball by Burgess. Good head on by Owusu, and certainly Ben Burgess had enough time to get an extra touch on. He only had Virgo with him, 1-for-1. Chose the wrong option.
Ben Burgess is on loan from Blackburn Rovers. They'll be here until the end of the season, so he's unlikely to take part in their wonderful day out down in Cardiff. Unless they have a flurry of injuries, he's unlikely to be recalled to Ewood Park. Most expressive of managers, but he'll be relieved more than anything that his side have given themselves something to build on now. Brighton fans trying to lift their team. Away by Powell. James with a poor first touch. Owusu trying to bring it clear, and that's a foul. And giving the ball away, Brighton were really keen to stop a possible counter-attack there by Brentford. They certainly don't look like a team that have lost their last 5 matches, and thanks to Ingemarson there, they might be about to end that awful run. Carpenter looking to spread the play. Paul Watson gives him that option. Rodgers. This is better from Brighton. They're heading the ball down and trying to create some openings. There hasn't been one so far in the opening 25 minutes from their point of view. Burgess. Evans knocks it forward and tries to use the pace of Owusu. And Virgo made a right mess of that, but he managed to do what he intended in a more unorthodox way. England and Crystal Palace field some two managers tonight. Peter Taylor having played for Crystal Palace and England as well. Coached them. Steve Coppell, who also played for England during the 70s, but not in the same team as Peter Taylor. Came on a bit later, Steve Coppell. And a 4 times manager of Crystal Palace. I wonder what the record is for a manager at one club. This is his first season here at Brentford. Hoping to take them up once more. Promoted a few years ago. Indeed, they were the champions in '99. Brighton the champions of the 3rd division last season. Owusu, good support. He's played it behind Evans there. Hunts in the centre. Dobson. Owusu. And arriving is Anderson. There's a man down in the box, and the referee has angered the Brentford supporters. So their team are in a good situation, but he's had to react because of yet another head injury to a Brighton player.
And perhaps that would let Brighton off the hook a little bit, because Brentford were in good position. Anderson coming down this left-hand side and taking the ball. Owusu did well, working that ball down the right-hand side, and then he thumps it into the centre. Very dangerous ball. Cullen does well to clear the danger, because there are a couple of bodies in there for Brentford.
Ogwe actually went down under the initial cross, I think possibly from his own teammate there, maybe Danny Cullip.
Well, they're working hard, Brighton, to get back there. Certainly they got a little bit stretched there. It was a good ball out. Owusu did well to put it to Brentford Brighton under a little bit of pressure.
The problem now is how to resume the game. Brentford are in good position in a dangerous area. Brighton won't, I would imagine, want to give the ball back too cheaply. That's putting it mildly. Now, swings and roundabouts. Some Brentford fans will be booing now, but there'll be an occasion, I'm sure, this season when one of their players will be down. And at the end of the day, someone's fitness is more important than that situation. Sidwell bursting into the penalty area. Cleared away by Brighton. Now, Brentford are looking for a second goal.
He's causing all kinds of problems, Owusu. Virgo not comfortable against Owusu at all. When the ball goes up to him, he's trying to get in front of Owusu. Exposed himself a little bit because he isn't always winning the ball.
Dobson, strong play. Was that handball? Well, I thought there was a ball to hand there, and my initial reaction was from a Brentford player, but they were only Brighton, a Brighton player, I should say, but only Brighton supporters behind the goal, so they wouldn't have reacted. Had it been at the other end, it might just have forced the hand. Let's have a look at it again. Another interesting decision for the referee to make.
It did look like there was a hand there. Certainly the linesman, you would have thought, had a good sight of it, because right in front of the linesman, but no flag at all.
You're right, the linesman was just a couple of yards away. Came off the thigh first, I think, didn't it, before it hit the hand of Kerry Mayo. Mann. Quickly forward by Dobson, and effectively forward. Burgess. Zamora, starved of service so far. Rodgers. Never really got the ball under control. I'm happy he got the throw in for his side. Late to professional football was Paul Rogers. As part of the Sutton team that defeated Coventry in that big FA Cup shock back in the late 80s. Really good half hour for Brentford. They lead by a goal to nil. And they've had a couple of penalty claims as well. And as yet, the new boy in their goal has barely been tested. Carpenter. Watson. Nathan Jones calling for it and getting it. Hart.
The brightest bit of football up to now, I think, from Brighton. Nice build-up, 4 or 5 players linked. It's important, though, when Hart then has that position with Zamora, the target man, who had just slipped beyond Ingemarson and was in front of Powell. There's a good delivery in there.
Otway forward. Zamora. It was convincing of clearances there from Brentford. Evans further forward. Burgess with the touch. Owusu climbing high. It's interesting that Steve Coppell made the changes, rang some changes in midweek after the 4 defeats prior to the trip to Northampton. Hart's chasing. Anderson comes across as a really good clearance. Hart looked a little late with his challenge on the Brentford defender.
It was a good ball by Zamora, instinctive type of ball, knew exactly the run that Hart was going to make. Anderson had to be alive and alert. He did well to clear the danger.
Zamora shielding the ball well here. Can he turn? Going to pick out a teammate, and Hart again is over, and arguably the best chance by the mere fact that it's probably been the only real chance that Brighton have had so far.
There was a neat build-up, good head down by Otway. Hart just couldn't get over it enough to keep it down under the crossbar. It was certainly the best opening that they've had, but it wasn't the easiest.
The changes Coppell made in midweek didn't bear fruit on Tuesday, but maybe they are tonight. The likes of Owusu and Evans are putting in really good performances, maybe buoyed up and determined to prove that the manager shouldn't have dropped them in the first place. And so Coppell's getting the reaction a few days later, and it's proving effective for Brentford at the moment. Ingemarson, scorer of the only goal so far. Header from a corner. Evans. Tried to play it out to the right-hand side, but there wasn't really anyone there initially. And Dobson has done fantastically well to close down the space. And Owusu's calling for it, and it's in! It's Burgess! Burgess gets the goal, but really it's all down to Dobson. And they'll go over now to congratulate him, quite rightly so. He made something out of nothing, and Brentford have doubled their lead.
Well, he did make something out of it. Slight bit of hesitancy by Mayo. Dobson straight in, wins the ball and looks up. Good movement by the Brentford forwards as well as the easiest of goals for Ben Burgess. Lovely ball in. Just the type of ball you want as a centre forward. And certainly Brentford looked good for their two goals. Certainly started off much the brighter. Played really well, Brentford.
You certainly have 2 penalty claims turned down, but there's maybe now a better reflection on the balance of play so far. Ben Burgess becomes their out-and-out top goal scorer. 13 he has in the league and cup this season. I heard his manager beforehand saying that he felt Ben Burgess can play at a higher level. He's a little bit surprised that a first division side haven't come in and made an offer to Blackburn for him.
I think the fact that he went on loan to Australia, I don't think has helped Ben Burgess really. Took him out of the limelight a little bit after he had 1 or 2 appearances for Blackburn.
Marn going long, but Owusu had come a little short and is unable to turn on his heels. And it doesn't help when you're sent off to Australia. You probably think you don't have the best of futures at a club. Ben Burgess spent a good time with the Northern Spirits. He scored 16 goals in his 26 matches, but as someone who came back from Australia recently said, the standard there is pretty poor, to put it mildly.
I saw Ben Burgess play a few times for Blackburn under 17s and 19s, until he was making a bit of a name for himself, and you would have thought that perhaps he was going to break through into the Blackburn ranks, but ultimately when Graham came, he felt that perhaps he might have needed a bit of toughening up elsewhere.
Well, certainly a tidy finish here, wasn't it?
Yeah, good movement. He had three options really. Owusu had came off, peeled off to the near post, and then really just put the ball right in front of the goal. Simplest of goals, but as you said, I think it's all down to the hard work of Michael Dobbs. He did superbly well.
I don't think Peter Taylor, though, is going to be too pleased when he analyses that. It's been a lethargic start, hasn't it, by Brighton?
I think that Brentford have started off.
Marn's ball in, Hunt's arriving again, and it was back to the goalkeeper. Very coolly done by Watson. Managed to cushion his header under intense pressure.
I think Hunt and Watson made contact together almost, and wasn't any real opportunity for Hunt to get a clean header on goal. But I think he's saying about Brighton being a little bit lackadaisical, but I think it's the start that Brentford have made really that have upset Brighton.
We've seen very little of this man so far. Zamora, they need a bit of magic from him before half-time. Evans, coolly done. Marn, what a terrific pass. And Owusu has options left and right. It goes straight down the middle. Virgo stopped him.
A little bit of good fortune for Lloyd Owusu. Virgo accidentally falling over. Really, his touch wasn't that great. First touch could have been a little bit better. Could have got clean away from Virgo. Desperate lunge in the end by the defender. They're having an anxious time against Owusu.
Brighton fans hope not again. Evans. Well, he can strike from distance. Slightly better than that.
I don't know whether that's a shot or a cross. Either way, wasn't the best. And Brentford had lots of bodies in there as well.
Wow. There's a combination. Selhurst Park allies not so long ago. Second division rivals now. Sure, one of the other reasons for Sam Hammam being here is that Brighton play Cardiff next week. That's the next match up. So we're doing a bit of scouting. Burgess with a flick on. At the moment, you just feel, as hard as it is to say this, and we never thought we'd say it beforehand, Brighton are just almost looking to half-time and making sure they don't concede a third before half-time, otherwise they will be out of this contest.
Certainly so. It's a good position for Brentford to be in. Certainly if they did get another one, they could go out and enjoy this game tonight. Still a bit of work to be done. Brighton won't let them have it all their own way.
It'll be interesting to see if Peter Taylor might make substitutions, if not at half-time, very early in the second half, to just bring some impetus to their performance. Rodgers leaving it for Jones. He's always full of running. It's Zamora running into trouble on that occasion, giving Owusu the ball. Return by Oatway. Hart. Jones in the centre, but Hart might get a shot in himself, and the ricochet could have gone anywhere. Good opportunity for Brighton. Had options Oatway as he
broke through the challenge, but really the first touch from Hart was awful.
Matches to come on the ITV Sport channel, and we stay in the second division on Saturday. 11:30 kick-off there, well, 11:30 for us, 12 for the players. Huddersfield against Queen's Park Rangers. And then Crystal Palace, Ron Node's old club, and still getting rent on the ground against Coventry. That's Tuesday, 7 o'clock start on the ITV Sport channel. Burgess with a flick on, finding a Wusu. Everything's breaking for him at the moment. Good tackle by Virgo.
And a vital challenge. Very much a thorn in the side at the moment. Owusu lively on both sides of the field. That was a crucial challenge by Virgo.
They've worked quite a few short corners, Brentford, but I think right now are alive to this. They've got 2 players here, and it's a conventional one. And Zamora away, and Powell on the volley is over.
Well, they reacted well, Powell. It wasn't the best of clearances by Zamora. It was a difficult ball for Powell to take, but had no hesitation in trying to get it on target.
I don't think that would go down too well. The Brentford strikers, if both the centre halves scored before half-time.
I don't think he scores too many, Darren Powell, but he's willing.
Ball. The crowd thought so. The referee didn't. He was well placed again. Paul Rogers getting away with it, maybe. Two minutes to go to half-time.
Well, he knows he's going to come in for close attention, Bobby Zamora. Certainly he's a strong, powerful type. It's more it's not a dangerous challenge, I don't think. It's a little bit of a clumsy challenge. More the way I think the Bobby Zamora fell more than anything else that did the damage.
Well, he's managed to score his amazing amount of goals due to his stunning talents, but also the fact that he's kept very fit since he arrived from Bristol Rovers back in August of 2000. 87th appearance here tonight. 61 goals he's scored. He's in trouble here, David.
Yeah, I think he's fallen on his shoulder, his sort of his collarbone type area, and yeah, I think it was the fall more than anything else that did the damage.
He's just drifting over to that far side, but it looks as if he'll be returning. So Brighton need him. 2 down. They certainly need something. Oatway with the shot that is charged down. Oh, Sidwell. Zamora back on the pitch. Cullet. Rusu defending for Brentford. 3 minutes of stoppage time. Jones slightly fortunate to get away with his pass there, but even so, he ran his teammates into trouble. Oh, they've got 2 in the centre here, Brentford unmarked, and there was no height on the cross. Burgess and Owusu would have had a relatively simple opportunity to bang in a possible third for Brentford there, had the cross been better.
But Jones, bad ball across the centre of the field to Mayo, really put him in all kinds of trouble. He broke through 2 challenges, but third got him, and then really Brighton looked stretched. As you say, the cross was poorly delivered.
Well, they've only lost 3 games in the league all season, Brighton, and I doubt they've had a worse 45 minutes than they've had here so far. 2-0 down, and Brentford looking for a third. And with the aid of a referee decision, might have got a penalty or 2 in this first half as well. A lot of work for Peter Taylor to do at half-time. Dobson, creator of that second goal. Oh, he's gone through 2 challenges, but lost his footing in the end. He's almost like a bulldozer. Carpenter, Rogers, Watson. Brentford working from the front, making it difficult for Brighton to even get over halfway with any real quality. Owusu. Powell continued his run, but Owusu couldn't find him. Jones is chasing for Brighton, hoping for an error, but it's hope more than anything for Brighton currently. Marn forward. Ingemarson with the header. Carpenter with just a fraction of time to put his foot on the ball. Watson. Jones. Stephen Hunt finding Owusu. Culip this time coming across. Evans and Sidwell through the centre. Still trying to get possession, and he's successful in that. Marn. Burgess. Support from Dobson. Michael Dobson. Like an effort at goal there from the fullback.
I think he went for the shot, Michael Dobson. I don't think it looked like he was letting a goalward bound, but he certainly puts a lot of energy into his game, coming down that right-hand side.
Brentford free kick. What a terrific half-time scoreline this is for Brentford. Peter Taylor's got a lot of work to do to try and lift them. Lift what appears quite a number of tired players out there. Up towards Burgess, but he'll not get on the ball. And for a team that had only scored 1 goal since Boxing Day, 2 in 45 minutes represents a Christmas of sorts for Brentford. Ingemarson with the first from the corner, and then Burgess 10 minutes before half-time. They've had other opportunities. They've been so dominant, you just couldn't have predicted it beforehand. 5 defeats on the trot. Surely that's going to come to an end. Half-time, Brentford 2, Brighton 0. Thanks, Matt. Yes, Brooker and Steele to come on. And Rogers and Jones, and we're in agreement with the boys in the studio that it looks like a bit of support, long last, for Bobby Zamora up front, David. He's been a bit isolated, hasn't he, so far?
Well, he has. It is important that they create some problems for Brentford. Certainly they've got to make up those 2 goals, but they didn't really look like scoring in that first half. Feel sorry for Zamora playing up front alone. He's had no real support. Now the fact that Brugger's on, I think, will help, and certainly Steele has an eye for a goal as well, so they're going for it, Brighton.
We've got the Beatles refrain of Hey Jude going on, and as you know, that can go on for 3 or 4 more minutes, so hopefully they'll fade it. And Arthur Askey at half-time as well, so it's been an interesting 15 minutes. Well, eventually it disappears, and Brighton need something special in this 45 minutes. Peter Taylor took charge back in October, has been on the losing side just once in the league, but he has made big changes at half-time to try and keep that record intact. Brentford, they'll want to continue to pen Brighton back and be on the front foot themselves. A win here tonight will return them into the playoff places. This will be good news for Reading as well, who will remain quite some way clear at the top of the table. Owusu's header. Well, he was positioned all wrong in terms of his body, but even so, it's slack marking again by Brighton.
Well, it's a dangerous throw in. He does well, Owusu, but as you said, his body sort of turns full, and then he's heading sort of directly parallel to the post. Needs to flick it slightly.
It's a very unorthodox striker, isn't he? But he's effective. Steve Coppell was saying, by his own admission, he's not got the best of touches, but at this level, sometimes you can get away with other qualities and score a lot of goals. And he's got a free kick. Been much involved tonight, really hungry for the ball. There's Burgess on the far side. Powell as well forward. Plenty of height. Big team. Powell wins the header.
He has some presence when he gets up there, Powell. Certainly effective touch there, just heading it on.
That's a good ball for Steele. His first touch. Can he score? He will have felt he should have.
Caught a little bit cold. It's his first touch. Steele's first touch isn't the best. And the shot also, just he hits it into the ground, makes it easy for the goalkeeper. But that's a good opportunity. We'll give Brighton a little bit of hope.
Well, we spoke during the first half about how dominant they were and reliant on the man on the ball at the moment. But Steele is their second top scorer, obviously a long way behind Bobby Zamora, but he was in really good form at the start of the season. But in recent times, Peter Taylor has opted for a starting formation that is either 4-5-1 or 4-3-3, depending on whether you look at it positively or negatively. Owusu. Just emphasising again, you never quite know what's coming from him. And on that occasion, his teammates were uncertain. But it's going to be a possibly good second half for Owusu and Burgess. They're going to get even more space, arguably, as Brighton have to take risks. His pace on the break will be a major weapon for Brentford. Evans giving away the free kick. Oatway in a hurry to take it, but was unable to. Pitch is in terrific nick, it should be said, for late January. Dobson. Owusu chasing. Real pressure under the defender Virgo. And winning the ball for Brentford. Owusu.
Well, good battling by Owusu. Really, again, Virgo had the opportunity to put the ball out. Did it a little bit. Owusu battling, got the breaks. Really should have found Hunt on the left-hand side. He was free.
No push from Virgo. Burgess. Support from Sidwell. Mann. Got the call, saw that there was two men over there unmarked. Anderson continues his run, and Anderson gets there first to it, and Sidwell with the shots, and Brighton again were dozing, and that might have been curtains.
Well, it should have been curtains. Certainly Stephen Sidwell should have put it on target. I would have expected him to hit it on target. It was on his right foot, could have caught in between, didn't know whether to go for the ball or stand off. But really, Stephen Sidwell's pulled his shot well wide of the post, and he's quite strong on that right foot normally.
Well, obviously he's never scored for Arsenal, he's never even played for Arsenal first team, but he has managed to score his first career goal during his loan spell here. He won the FA Youth Cup twice with the Gunners. Worked under Don Howe and Liam Brady, but like so many youngsters in the Premiership at the moment, really struggling to get into their first team. So they get experience away. We've seen his teammate Jermaine Pennant, much closer to the first team than he is, have to go off to Watford to get regular first-team football. Here's Sidwell again. Dobson.
Again, good forceful running by Dobson on the right-hand side, and that effort wins him the breaks. Another corner, they are dangerous from this right-hand side, swinging them in from Hunt.
Yeah, opposite end of the ground. Ingemarson opened the deadlock. He's in there again. Owusu plays in towards Ingemarson. Mann. Sidwell. Unable to work Burgess in. Steele. Mann. Owusu. Anderson racing ahead of him. 4 on the edge of the penalty area for Brentford. And more if you include Hunt as he tries to bulldozer his way into the penalty area.
They got a little bit of fortune, Brian. They really stood off Brentford and allowed them to come forward. Owusu had plenty of time to turn. Anderson had plenty of time to turn. Really, they gave him onto the Brighton back foot too easily.
Brighton need to see their fullbacks get forward as much as we've seen the Brentford pairing. There's one of them, Mayo. What a play by Powell. Terry Mayo is the only surviving member of the Brighton team that so nearly got relegated from the entire Football League. That draw at Hereford 4.5 years ago. Steele with a header forward. Oh, Powell. Didn't really need to clear. Virgo. Zamora. Might just be his first shot on goal, that.
Well, he'll be frustrated that he hasn't seen much of the goal tonight. Did well though. Anderson committed himself. Zamora then got on the wrong side of Anderson. Snatched at his shot though, really. Never had his head over the ball.
Mann winning that challenge with Sidwell. Former teammates here a few years ago. Brooker. Mayo. Quickly away by Smith. Hunt looking forward and finding Owusu, who is offside.
Getting the ball in from Brighton, not the best. Mayo had a reasonable position, had a fair amount of time as well. Zamora was a little bit back off the away from the 6-yard box, but really Mayo should have delivered a more threatening type of ball.
Off goes Steele. Brighton supporters haven't had a great deal to cheer about tonight. They're behind the goal. They'll hope for plenty of action in the second half. Tame first half performance by their team, but they have a corner now. Carpenter on the edge of the penalty area. Zamora with his back to goal at the moment. Burgess is marking him. And Burgess wins the header. An effort goalwards was from Adam Virgo. never scored for Brighton.
It wasn't an easy ball for Virgo to get back towards goal. Got a solid contact on it though.
Well, they've been terrific supporters for Brighton. It's easy to follow them now when they're second top in the second division, but it was a lot worse. 2 years running, they were 91st in the Football League. They lost their ground, and it looks as if the club might fold and die, but as is always the case, it comes down to the supporters often to bail clubs out at their lowest ebb. Carpenter. Wins the header, but it's a free kick.
Well, it was a solid challenge from Powell. I think he's a little bit unlucky there, really.
Towards Zamora. Jobson missed the header. He's been watched all over the country. I think there was someone who told me beforehand that he'd been watched by every single Premiership club bar Manchester United so far. They've all had a look at him, most notably Walter Smith at Everton. Carpenter with a very optimistic effort from distance. As yet, Zamora has not looked anywhere near a £3 million player, but as is the case with good strikers at any level, and it was the case with him at Chesterfield on Monday night. Very quiet, and then suddenly, bang, 2 goals in the back of the net. And as poor as Brighton have been so far, they're still in this game, and they just need a break, something to turn to put pressure on Brentford to question their self-belief. Mann with the free kick. Again, Brentford still very positive and bold, and there's Ingemarson, the centre-half, now going to attack the ball. Burgess. Oh, yes! Magnificent! It's a cliche to say he's got a good touch for a big man, but that was a wonderful goal from Big Ben Burgess.
Well, it was a terrific strike. Beautiful control. His first touch, he just flicks it up perfectly. Knows where the goal is. Goalkeeper slightly off his line. Tremendous strike. 3-0. You'd expect Brentford now to go on and really enjoy this one. Really, Virgo nowhere near, bit bemused really, didn't know where the first touch from Burgess was going, went to the wrong side of him as it happened, and gave him that half a yard to get the shot in on goal.
Well, what a wonderful goal that was from Ben Burgess, his second of the match, and Brighton really now have it all to do. Mann, it's opened up for him, and it wasn't the best of clearances by Royce. They'll settle for the corner. In fact, the linesman's flag has indicated an offside.
Well, that was a goal all the way. As soon as it left his foot, you could just see that the goalkeeper was beaten. The fact that Simon Royce was just a yard off his line.
And here's Evans. He's going to try and get in the act, is he? He certainly is. Owusu unmarked, and it's offside. Forget the celebrations.
Well, it was a terrific strike by Paul Evans. Certainly had a better option of Sidwell on the right-hand side, but giving credit, it was a thunderous shot.
Now, they're clearly offside there. Had the ball gone in, I think that would have been allowed, but obviously he's interfering with play. Is that the reading of the situation, David?
Well, certainly they need to be a little bit more aware, the likes of Owusu. No need to get so far ahead of the ball. Sidwell had made a very bright run though down the right-hand side. Had Evans just looked up and rolled it out to that position.
They're so eager, aren't they, Brentford? They just want to keep on going forward. Evans it was with that shot that was beaten away. Here's Brooker running into trouble. In the shape of Dobson. Burgess, who's now on a hat-trick. Sidwell quickly forward. Owusu will chase. Watson biding his time. Carpenter. Burgess again. Evans. Anderson was on hand. Anderson continues his run, and here is the fullback. Two in the penalty area, waiting the cross, and it's left for Sidwell! It's 4! Brighton ripped apart, and Brentford, who've scored just 1 goal since Boxing Day, now have 4.
Well, he makes up for that, missing that one earlier, Stephen Sidwell, but bright movement, great run forward by Anderson, nice build-up down the left-hand side, well left by Burgess, and really probably with his less favourite foot, he kept it down well, Stephen Sidwell, and it's a good 4th goal.
Well, as we were saying, he had scored for Brentford before, and if there was any doubt who was going to win this game before he hit the back of the net, it ended with his goal celebration. 4-0 now to Brentford, and they're not going to stop at that, you can be sure. Hunt playing the ball in, Marn first to it, and Brighton we thought would be a different proposition in the second half, that they would lift things, but it's just not been the case. Steele. Out of 2 half-time substitutes, there are very few options left now for Peter Taylor in the remaining time of just under half an hour.
Well, Brentford are rampant now, certainly the fans are all up for it. Peter Taylor will be a little bit struggling to see how he can change it about.
Well, at the moment, the cameras are here to see the biggest defeat for Peter Taylor since he took over at Brighton. They lost 3-0 recently against Reading. It's even worse at the moment. Ingemarson, who got it underway. Carpenter with the volley. Owusu getting the ball out of play for a throw-in. Brighton are looking to make a 3rd and final substitution in a moment. Steve Milton is going to replace Oatway, who we saw there. Marn has been a little reluctant to strike from distance, as Gavin Marn has deferred to Evans most of the night.
Brighton having a few problems trying to clear their lines at the moment.
Anderson, who set up that 4th goal, very similar to the way Dobson had set up the 2nd goal for Brentford. Both fullbacks have had really good games and have chased balls that have appeared second best for them. Brooker. Sidwell. And his father is Paul Watson. Zamora. Mayo. Quickly nipping in was Owusu. Burgess. Hunt continuing his run. This is Ben Burgess. So close to a hat-trick.
Well, really, there's no way that Ben Burgess should have got a shot in on target there. There were 6 Brighton defenders. 2 players up from Brighton, and Lloyd Owusu trying to join the attack. But they were heavily outnumbered, and nobody came to them and made the challenge. Just only a whisker outside of the post.
Final change for Brighton. Oatway departing, and Steve Melton comes on. Briefest of Premiership experience with Nottingham Forest a few years ago, just one appearance against Leicester, but he was signed from Stoke City about 18 months ago. And it's maybe just a question of getting him a bit of experience, giving him a run out. Owusu. Amazing, we came here tonight to talk about Bobby Zamora and what a good player he was at this level, and yet it's Ben Burgess who arguably has been the star for Brentford. 2 goals, the second absolutely fabulous, and then so nearly a hat-trick. And if there are scouts here tonight, maybe they'll be looking at him at Premiership and First Division level. Here's another opportunity for him. It's fallen to Hunt. Owusu unable to stop the ball from going behind, but Burgess is just running rampant in this second half.
Well, they linked well together, Owusu, and certainly the shot was there for the taking. He really thundered it. A little bit hot to handle for Royce.
They're doing no favours for Steve Coppell. He wants to keep him here on loan as long as possible. Blackburn, I suppose, getting an offer of money, they might be tempted. Here's Hunt, 2 in the centre again, including Burgess. Coppell having to work with free transfers and loans, non-league players, youth players. But it's something he's done very effectively. He's always brought on young players. This is such a big result for Brentford, and how their season needed it. Coming into it on the back of all that gloom and doom, and just the fear that the whole season might evaporate. They not only had fallen off top spot from Christmas, they were in danger of drifting into the middle of the table. Mayo still got contact on it, but not enough.
Good challenge by Inga Marson, not making it easy for Steele to get in. Hit a free header.
Still not smiling.
Still not smiling, Steve, but he will be delighted at the fact Brighton have scored a few goals. That will give everybody a buzz and will do them no harm at all in the run-in now.
Well, this is the form of early season, isn't it, when they were top of the table and scoring 4s and 5s. Spoken a lot about their poor run of late, but they actually won 7 on the trot earlier in the season. Maybe this is the lift-off they need. Colchester away next Saturday for them, then Bournemouth at home, and then Cardiff at home. Matches to come. And it's Cambridge against Bristol City. That's in the LDV Vans Southern Area final. And that's on Wednesday, 7:30 start there. And then Preston against Watford the following night, 7 o'clock on the ITV Sport Channel. Division 1 match. Division 2 here tonight. And it's not a big surprise in terms of the league positions, but it's a big surprise in terms of current form. Mayo plays the ball in. Another opportunity for the fullback. A bit better quality on this cross. Steele.
Did well to get a good cross in. A very tight area.
happiest grounds, this, for Brighton and Hove Albion. Just one league win in 45 years prior to tonight. Extend that for at least another year. It's easy with hindsight, David, obviously, but I just wonder if Peter Taylor, given the week again, might have thought about changing things around rather than sticking with relatively the same 11. Steve Coppell did make changes on Tuesday at Northampton. It didn't work, but he just seems to have fresher legs out there tonight.
Perhaps that's so. Brentford did get out the blocks very quickly, but the fact that Brighton are in goal-scoring form and picking up those wins, I think he thought, keep with the winning side.
Yeah, quite right. It's a brave man who changes a winning team, as any Chelsea fan will testify. Brave might not be the word they will use today. Brighton fans also, like Chelsea fans, disgruntled, disappointed.
I have to say how much Zamora resembles Stan Collymore to me.
Yes,
the way
does,
he moves and everything.
Might have actually been a shot on goal. So confident. Brentford and their skipper, Paul Evans. He's had a similar route as well. Obviously, he's got a long way to go before he gets as far as Stan Collymore did. But Collymore was sort of rejected, wasn't he, at an early age? And it was the same with Zamora. He didn't make it at Bristol Rovers. They didn't rate him, didn't fancy him. They allowed him to leave for just £100,000. Never actually scored a goal for Bristol Rovers in his 6 matches, but they had Curitan at the time and Jason Roberts, who are established scorers at this level.
Well, perhaps it was a brave decision, perhaps, but they're obviously aware of the talent that they had around him.
And, completely stupid. They put in a sell-on clause of 33%.
No, that's right. I think most clubs cover themselves these days with the sell-ons and what have you. But no denying, he's really come on a ton since he went to Brighton, and certainly has that eye for goal. Though he hasn't seen much sight of goal tonight.
Yeah, it's a shame for our viewers that we've not seen Zamora at his best, which is not entirely down to him, as David's been saying. It's more down to the service he's got. Ingemarson, Burgess, Anderson. He's going for goal.
Well, that would have been some goal had that one gone in, because that must have been 40 yards out at least on an angle. Full contact, but wrong direction.
Was it Paul Evans who scored from the halfway line once here for Brentford a few years back? Very similar to David Beckham's goal against Wimbledon. Certainly a Brentford player. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. But it was a similar distance from Anderson. No changes as yet for Steve Coppell. He might be thinking about resting players, although they've got a nice few days before the next game. They play next Saturday. Ingemarson going backwards. Talked about how quiet Zamora is, but I suppose we've got to pay tribute to the two centre-halves for keeping them so quiet.
Very much so. I think Ingemarson and Powell have done really well tonight. Straight from the off, they're aware of the threat, got very, very tight on him. And though he hasn't had an awful lot of ball, he had no real space to make anything out of Zamora.
Brighton players in the penalty area, hoping for something better. The only league defeat so far for Peter Taylor was a 3-0 defeat recently, as we said, against Wigan. Another team who might just be there in the shake-up at the end of the season. Unlike Brentford in recent weeks, they've been going the other way, coming up the table. And indeed won here last Saturday. They could be the dark horses, a lot of quality in their side. Mayo finding Carpenter. Carpenter again. Now, plenty of shirts forward here for Brighton. At least make the goalkeeper stretch. Zamora's header. This is Steele. 4 waiting for the cross. Carpenter. Blocked by Mann. Evans has to go backwards and is caught in possession.
Well, I don't think he can have any complaints, Paul Evans. Certainly an unfair challenge on Gary Hart. The referee was ideally placed. I think Carpenter will fancy his chances from this range. Showing them a long distance. Although Watson looks like he fancies a go as well.
Great save by the keeper. First save he's had to make tonight, Paul Smith.
Well, he'll have enjoyed that, Paul Smith. It was well hit by Dobson, who was finding its way in. By Watson, rather.
Look at that, Brentford 20 attempts on goal tonight. They're looking for attempt 21. No call for Virgo. Looking for this 5th Brentford goal. They have managed to tally up 5 once this season. Steele. Carpenter. Still running at Powell, who handled it, didn't he? And he did. Assistant referee was ideally placed, just a couple of yards away. So free kick to Brighton. Away by Mann, but Brentford had everyone back. So Anderson has to wait as long as possible before clearing. Into the playoff places tonight for Steve Coppell and Brentford. 5th place they will be. There's Wally Downs to his right-hand side, a stalwart of Wimbledon days, as number 2. Brentford are going to make their first change in a moment. The Brighton fans are making some noise now. All they can really hope for is a goal from their team.
Well, I would give them a lift.
Well, they've stayed on.
Yeah, certainly. They've looked a little bit short of ideas, I think, at times, Brighton.
Dobson belts it forward. Burgess is up high. Owusu. Burgess. Last touch for him, maybe. He's the man who's about to be substituted. Mann. Burgess calling for it again, short. Instead it's towards Sidwell. And that will be the end of number 30. Your time is up. But he served us up with 2 goals. And he'll be a strong contender for David's Man of the match performance. Ben Burgess. Standing ovation from his supporters. The man on loan from Blackburn Rovers. First goal was relatively routine for him. But the second goal will surely be a contender for goal of the month. And this is the reason. Tab is the man who's replacing him. Melton. Corner to Brighton. Into the final 10 minutes. Just a question of goal difference now. Melton. Carpenter. Took a deflection. Confirmation of that substitution. Jay Tab getting his first appearance of the season, just 17 years of age. Zamora. Away by Mann. Watson. Carpenter. Brooker. Zamora, but can't climb high enough. Sidwell brings it clear for Brentford. First touch for Tab. Wusu with a flick on. And across comes Cullet. Oh, just a smile there from Steve Coppell. Enjoying the next few days a lot more than he has the previous ones. Sidwell. Mann. Throws down quickly. Hunt. Owusu in front of his defender. Something we haven't mentioned tonight actually is how much they've maybe missed Simon Morgan, who was out injured, and his experience at the back maybe has been a big loss for them. Owusu, is he onside? Well, he's offside. Late decision from the linesman.
I think it was the right decision. I think he had just encroached a little bit. It was a good line that Brighton held. He didn't think it was him, but I don't think Hunt was offside.
Well, I'll hope Simon Morgan is back, certainly for the next game, next Saturday against Cardiff. Evans. That was handball by Carpenter. Leicester City's manager at the start of the season. 14 defeats in 18 with Leicester City, led to his departure and the arrival of Dave Bassett. More managerial movement in Midlands football tonight with the departure of John Gregory from Aston Villa. Carpenter. Gary Hart chasing. Powell is determined that there'll be a clean sheet for Brentford at the end of the night. All those 5 recent defeats have been by a single goal. And Steve Coppell put a lot of them down to individual errors, most notably from his goalkeeper. That's why he made the bold decision tonight to drop Ólafur Karlsson, the Icelandic international, who he regards as his best keeper, but he brought in young Paul Smith here tonight, and to be fair, you or I probably could have kept goal tonight at times for Brentford, so little has he had to do, but it's a decision that has worked. Maybe it's just settled the defence as well, the uncertainty.
The back four has looked very, very solid, been very impressed by Powell and Dobson here on the right-hand side, but yeah, they look like now you know, this will give them a boost just at the right time of the season.
Well, they certainly have got the money to match Reading or Cardiff or Wigan. The underdogs will be rooting for a team like Brentford. They'll do it without spending any money if they can get up.
Not the type of ball you want to be receiving from one of your central defenders. Really put Simon Royce under some pressure there.
Is there a fifth goal for Brentford? We've been going at it for nearly half an hour to put more gloss after Burgess had scored the third and then Sidwell scored the fourth. What a shame, we've got to the 88th minute. We're going to see our first yellow of the evening.
A little bit harsh, perhaps. No need, really. Referee's done quite well. They've missed the two penalties, but aside from that, I think the referee's done okay. But no need to boot Sidwell in that incident.
Just 2 minutes of stoppage time after we played these final two of the 90. Mann with a free kick. Sidwell with the effort at goal. And then Tab was blocked in his progress. Dobson won the header, gets the ball back again. He maybe is a contender for David's man of the match, which we'll hear about in a couple of moments' time. Corner to Brentford. Can they make this their biggest win of the season so far? Beat Bury 5-1 back in October when they were top of the table. Evans with the corner. Sidwell, good awareness, he could see immediately there was a spare man over there. Sidwell wins the corner.
Good play by Stephen Sidwell. Nice ball out to the left-hand side, and was happy to go in, give Hunt a little bit of help, and a nice driving run into the penalty area.
Evans with the corner. Powell had the ball beaten off his head. Sidwell again is first to it for Brentford. Paul Smith. Mann. Confirmation of the 2 minutes of stoppage time. Brooker. Good tackle. Away comes Darren Powell again, and continues to go forward. Couldn't work the ball back to Owusu. David, time for your man of the match adjudication.
Difficult decision, been some outstanding performances. Certainly Dobson and Powell have been tremendous at the back. Owusu has worked tirelessly up front. Been very impressed by him. But for the fact for his 2 goals, and certainly that his second goal was the best piece of skill we saw all night, I think we have to give it to Ben Burgess.
Zamora, who's picked up a fair few man of the match awards in the last couple of seasons, but anonymous tonight. Just the one effort I can remember off the top of my head. Unlike Burgess, who not only scored 2, but had opportunities to possibly bag a hat-trick. Good save by Royce, beaten away after Burgess had struck from the edge of the penalty area. And Brentford, virtually from the off, have been the better side, haven't they, from the 1st to the 91st?
Without shadow of a doubt. And, I mean, it is a comfortable 4-0 win. Could have been a few more. They've had efforts on goal, and obviously those 2 penalty claims.
Corner. The last act of the match, if indeed they can get the corner over. This is a really good result for Reading, as we said, who will remain 6 points clear at the top of the table. Full time and a terrific performance and victory for Steve Coppell and Brentford Football Club. Ben Burgess scored 2. They really needed a performance here tonight after the disappointments. Their first points, their first victory of 2002. Sidwell was another scorer. The 2 former England internationals go off deep in conversation. They know this is just a pinprick in the season, but from Brentford's point of view, they really did need the lift. They're back into the playoff places. Peter Taylor's got a bit of work to do to lift his team before that big game against Cardiff next week. Steve Coppell will have a smile for a few days now. Brentford are back in the race for promotion, and they have thoroughly deserved it here tonight. They really have dominated. They set about their task so impressively, despite